With the release of Daredevil Born Again on Disney+, now is the perfect opportunity to talk about all of the live-action Daredevil suits and rank them from worst to best. Daredevil is one of my favorite superheroes, and his series is still to this day one of my favorite shows on television. So naturally, I have a lot of thoughts on Daredevil's various looks throughout his show, as well as other live-action interpretations of the character. So without further ado, let's get the video started. First, I'm gonna give a brief honorable mention to the unseen suits from Daredevil Born Again. From this shot in both the trailers and the show, it appears that two of the suits we haven't seen yet are a silver or white suit and a black suit. It's safe to assume that the design of these outfits would be similar, if not nearly identical in design, to either his Netflix suit or his Born Again suit, since that's a pattern we'll see throughout this video. But since we haven't actually seen these suits yet, I unfortunately can't consider them for this list. Hopefully we'll get to see these suits as the show progresses, and I'll likely do an updated suit ranking when that happens. Starting the list at number 11, I have the 1975 Daredevil suit. This suit is from a cancelled Daredevil and Black Widow TV series from the mid-70s, with actor and writer Ben Carruthers donning the role of Matt Murdock, and was the first attempt at a live-action Daredevil costume. Obviously nothing came from it, but there was a single photo shoot done with these two characters in costume, and it looks terrible. From the two pictures we have of this suit, it appears that Matt had a cheap spandex suit with tight shorts, exposed hands, and a hood with ridiculous pointy looking devil horns. They also applied face paint over the areas that the hood couldn't cover in order to sell the illusion that he's wearing a full mask, which looks really creepy and not in a scary kind of way. Thank God this project never progressed past the photo shoots, because I don't think I can see my boy Matthew get dragged through the mud like this. The worst live action Daredevil suit, without question. At number 10, I have the Daredevil suit from the Trial of the Incredible Hulk. This was the second attempt at making a live-action Daredevil suit, but the first one to actually make an on-screen appearance, and it's actually not that bad for what it is. An all-black suit similar to how Frank Miller's suit would look just a few years later. While on the surface, it looks similar to how the Netflix series made Matt's first costume, but there's a very noticeable difference in this one. The whole outfit is made of spandex. This unfortunately makes the suit a little dated in my opinion, as the material doesn't look as great when compared to the other suits on this list. It's not a completely flat suit, as there are some stitches throughout it, and he even wears boots that double as baton holders. I'm also personally not a fan of how the suit pulls up over his head, but he has to wear a separate bandana to hide his eyes. And I'd just like to say that even though this is near the bottom of the list, this isn't a bad suit. It's really hard to mess up the blind ninja thing, and especially since this was the first legitimate crack at the suit, I think they did a pretty good job with it. At number 9, I have the scarf suit. I'm mainly referring to when Matt wears Jessica Jones' scarf in episode 3 of The Defenders, but I'll also include the other instances where he's wearing his civilian clothes, but has a face covering on his head. There's something so badass about Matt doing his Daredevil thing while just wearing regular clothes. He doesn't need the Daredevil suit to do what he does. It just adds extra protection, and it's really clever that Matt can take something simple like a scarf and use that to hide his identity. Unfortunately though, he is just fighting in a normal suit with a scarf on his head. So as much as I love this design for Matt, I can't justify putting it any higher on the list. At number 8, I have Matt's first Daredevil suit. This is the original Daredevil suit that Matt gets at the very end of season 1, and wears up until episode 4 of season 2. Instead of getting a spandex outfit like in the comics, Matt's suit used a Kevlar material with a patterned look that cut up the red and black attachments and padding. It also has some silver buckles and screws to hold the armor pieces together, and I actually really like this small detail. I don't mind this particular shade of red, but I do wish there was more of it. But this is something that future upgrades of the suit would improve upon. Even though the suit as a whole is fairly decent, I'm sure no one is surprised that this particular version is so low on the list, and that's exclusively because the cowl sucks. The black on the forehead doesn't look great. It's almost as if they're trying to mesh it with the black ski mask underneath, but it unfortunately doesn't work. The horns are okay, but worst of all, it doesn't fit right on Charlie's head. And with the narrow eyes looking like he's constantly squinting, the whole thing just looks off. I also find it ironic that most people, and myself included, find this suit to be a good starting point that just needed some improvement, when in the show it stated that this suit was incomplete and not properly refined when it was made. And we'll talk more about those improvements later on the list. At number 7, I have the Ben Affleck Daredevil suit. This is the suit worn in the 2003 Daredevil film, starring Ben Affleck as Matt Murdock. It's a fully red leather suit fitted with a collar and a horned mask, and is currently the only suit to have the Daredevil logo on the chest, even though it's smaller and on the left side. I also think it's a clever decision to have his cane double as his billy club, even if that does end up compromising his secret identity in the film. This suit is very interesting because overall, it's a fairly accurate representation of the comic book costume, arguably more so than the rest of the suits on this list. But the leather is what really kills it. I think the best this suit has ever looked is actually in the promotional material, especially this specific shot. It looks so much more sleek in these photos that I was almost tricked into thinking it looked better than I remembered. But when looking at actual stills from the film, it just doesn't look great. The collar looks really weird when it's not fully zipped up. The mask itself is fine, but unfortunately, I don't think Ben Affleck fits it very well. Which is funny because I think his face fits the Batman mask perfectly fine. And in general, the all-leather outfit really does make him look more like a biker rather than a superhero, especially because the wrinkles in the leather make it look extra silly. I get why they did this though. It was the early 2000s, and the whole leather costume thing seemed pretty standard for Marvel at the time. This is a suit that has the right idea with the blood red color and the more simple design that the character is known for, but it could have been so much better if they didn't rely on the motorcycle fetish. And I really wish we could have seen an updated version of this suit in Deadpool and Wolverine, where Ben Affleck was set to reprise his role as Daredevil alongside Elektra, but alas, it wasn't meant to be.
Daredevil, I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
Okay.
At number 6, I have the yellow and red suit. This was the suit worn by Charlie Cox as Daredevil in his return to the role for 2 episodes of the She-Hulk show on Disney+, which marked the first time that he played both Matt Murdock and Daredevil in a Marvel Studios project. And because this was such a big deal, they decided to give Matt a new suit that paid homage to his previous suit from the Netflix series, but still felt appropriate for the lighter tone of the show he was in. The suit itself had a near identical design to his previous one, with the only difference being the yellow and red color scheme, which is a direct reference to Daredevil's first suit in the comics. And while it was really exciting to see Daredevil again in a brand new suit that stands out with a unique color scheme, it did have its drawbacks. It adopted the MCU tradition of breaking up the top layer of the suit into 2 different parts, an undersuit that had full sleeves and a separate vest that rests over it. It's not a huge deal, but it's something that once you notice, you can't unsee it. And unfortunately, because the layers are 2 different colors, it's even more noticeable here. Adding to that, while the yellow and red suit made the character fit in more with the lighter vibe of the show, I think the color scheme is a bit goofy. It looked great at night, but the scenes in the daytime really didn't hold up as well. And unfortunately, it's impossible to not compare the color to the original because the rest of the suit design is pretty much the exact same. Like I said earlier, this is a suit that works with the lighter vibe of She-Hulk, but I don't think this suit would have fit in with his own show. I wouldn't mind seeing it again in other crossovers, but I just prefer the red suit over this one. At number 5, I have the Season 1 black suit. This was the first suit Matt put together when going out as a vigilante in Season 1, and while it looks simple, it quickly became the most iconic look for Charlie Cox's version of the character. This suit had a few different looks throughout the first season, but it primarily consisted of a compression shirt, cargo pants, tactical gloves and boots, and his bandana mask. He would also upgrade the suit with elbow and forearm pads and a holster for his screama sticks, and would occasionally wear white Muay Thai ropes tied against his fists that gave the whole outfit a very distinct appearance and made him look so badass. There's a lot I love about this suit, but the biggest thing for me is that this is a suit you can actually make from scratch. In fact, I was able to find almost every piece of this outfit online and buy it for a relatively cheap cost. And I'm not talking about buying a replica or a cosplay. I legitimately found almost everything the costume designers used to put together this suit, including the exact compression shirt, gloves, forearm pads, and elbow pads. And even in the show, Matt tells Foggy this is exactly how he assembled the suit, just buying all the parts on the internet. Matt has an all-black shirt with a subtle pattern on the sides, but I personally prefer the compression shirt that has a subtle red lining throughout the suit, as it adds a small layer that also complements his iconic red color scheme. And in general, I love the tactical yet form-fitting look of the suit. It gives him excellent range of motion that allows him to adapt to most combat situations, and gives him the ability to include advanced yet realistic acrobatics to his fighting style. And it's so interesting because at times it's hard to imagine that this is still Charlie Cox under the mask, and it's like he legitimately transforms into a different person when he's wearing it. While I'm glad he eventually got an official superhero suit, it made sense for the series to feature Matt in this prototype suit for a large portion of the first season. It's perfect for the grounded and gritty vibe of the series that made it feel so realistic. And the only reason he felt the need to upgrade this suit in the first place was because he kept getting injured. And even then, Daredevil would don a similar design again during season 3, which we'll talk about later on the list. And that time is now, because at number 4, I have the season 3 black suit. While the season 1 suit has a more practical approach with all of the different padding and the tactical pants and gloves, the season 3 suit has this I don't give a f aura that makes it look even more intimidating. And this suit is once again entirely homemade, but without any extra accessories or padding. Matt wears a plain black long sleeve sweater with an occasional red undershirt, black sweatpants, black fingerless gloves, which is admittedly not the smartest choice for his profession, and a black and white bandana with the black being the primary color, but having a little bit of the white peeking underneath. He'll also occasionally add Muay Thai ropes again to do some extra damage, and when he gets blood on them, it looks even more badass. From a story purpose, this is Matt fully embracing the Daredevil part of his life for the first time, and the suit reflects that perfectly. He doesn't care about protecting himself from harm anymore, he just wants to get the job done. And while the season 1 black suit felt more thought out, Matt literally picked up random clothes from the church and used that for his outfit. And how he conveniently picked out an all black outfit, I have no idea. At times I prefer the original suit over this one, but I think that's because season 1 has a soft spot in my heart as the beginning of that show, and I love the thought that was put into the design to make it realistic, yet practical. But if I'm being honest with myself, the season 3 black suit has so much aura to it with its simplicity, and that alone makes it a better suit. At number 3, I have the Echo suit. This is Daredevil's second suit under Marvel Studios, and is another variant of his season 2 Netflix suit. This suit maintains the traditional design and style of its predecessor, but was tweaked a little bit as a way of honoring the classic Netflix costume without exactly copying it. Echo's Daredevil suit has a cowl with a sleeker feel to it and considerably larger chest plates, giving Daredevil a more imposing presence. It also mixes around the black and red padding on the central area of the suit, which makes it appear more red than black. The color shading appears to be a slightly brighter red, but it's so hard to tell because we don't really get a good look at this suit in the show. And that's really my biggest issue with this costume. It's shown so briefly in such a dark area that we can't see it all too well. And this short cameo in the show may have been the reason for my 2 minor complaints I have with the suit, which have to do with how it was constructed. It has the same issue as the yellow and red suit, where the top layer of the outfit is broken up into 2 different parts. A vest for the body piece with a separate undersuit. The outfit is also strangely a bit loose and baggy on him, which is something you might not notice if you don't look too closely. I don't want to say it was lazily made because that definitely wasn't the case, but I could see these minor details being overlooked in the design process because of how small Daredevil's role was in the show. This isn't the smoking gun that makes it an inferior suit to the others, but it does break the illusion for me a little bit. The concept was made with good intentions, and I can see why people think this suit is better in comparison to the one it's based on, but it's held back just a little bit because of the issues I stated earlier. At number 2, I have the red Daredevil Born Again suit. This is Daredevil's latest suit from the new Disney Plus show, and is the first suit in almost a decade to have a new design. It's significantly more red, a much brighter red at that, with a minor amount of black accents that mesh well with the suit. And this suit looks like a natural evolution of his previous suits by making the design a bit sleeker. They did this by removing the armor plating and screws that have been present since his first official suit, adding some texture to both the suit and the helmet that visually gives it a more unique look and feel, while also preventing it from looking like a flat suit. And like I just said, adding more red to the suit overall. It looks a little too bulky in my opinion, especially in the chest area, just like with the Echo suit, but it still looks physically imposing. But ever since the set photos were released, I've been very mixed on this suit, and for a while I couldn't pinpoint the exact reason why, because all things considered, it genuinely looks fantastic. However, the thing I finally figured out that had my feelings mixed for so long is the lack of a logo. I think that out of all the Charlie Cox Daredevil suits, This is the only one where I feel like the logo is surely missed. And the final thing that I'm mixed on with this new suit is the beard. It's such a small thing, but I always liked the little scruff that was visible in Matt's other appearances. But for Born Again, he has a full beard that's also shown while he's wearing the suit. Sometimes it adds to the physically imposing presence that the Daredevil suits have, but there's other instances where it looks really silly in my opinion. In general, I think this suit looks great and is a welcome change from the original design, but some of the design choices, the beard, and the exclusion of a logo holds it back just a little bit from being the best. And finally, at number 1, I have the second Daredevil suit. This is Matt's second red and black suit that we got in season 2 of the Netflix series, and it was a welcome upgrade from the original. It maintained a good majority of the elements from the first suit, but the little changes helped make it the best version of the Netflix Daredevil costumes. This new suit featured more red than black, specifically in the shoulder area, which in-universe increased the durability of the suit. They streamlined it a little bit by removing the forearm guards and replacing the gloves with something more sleek, and giving them red padding while also adding some red wrist straps. But most importantly, they fixed the original suit's biggest issue, which was the helmet. They adjusted it by replacing the triangular shaped design that made Daredevil look like he was squinting all the time, added more red to the cowl, fixed the horns, and the best new feature, the red eye lenses. This one change really helps give life to the mask, as you can frequently see them glint in the light. Charlie Cox also mentioned that the lower portion of the suit is slightly baggier, making it more reminiscent of the cargo pants in the first season. And they went back to the old combat boots to give it a more combat-y feel to it. These upgrades made Daredevil so imposing in his costume by giving him a more muscular look and frame, while still being flexible enough to do all of the Daredevil acrobatics practically. It's also worth noting that when Dex puts on a copy of this suit in season 3, it was made to be an identical suit, but they actually made the sleeves tighter and the gloves larger to emphasize his hands, which is very appropriate for the character. I can see why people prefer the new Born Again suit over this one, but to me, the reason I think this one is better is because as it stands, this feels like a complete suit. Obviously, there are elements that can be changed and altered as we've already discussed, but I genuinely can't think of anything I would change except giving it a brighter shade of red and maybe having the black abdominal padding be turned to red. But even then, I still really like it here. This is such an amazing suit and is without a doubt the most iconic official Daredevil suit for Charlie Cox's character. This suit is so good that it served as an inspiration for all of Charlie's future suits when he was brought back into the MCU. And even then, I'm certain there's a clause somewhere between Netflix and Disney that forbids Disney from using this suit in their own projects, which is why we've seen so many different iterations of this suit. And while I've stated earlier that they wanted to pay homage to this design for those other suits, there's a clear reason why they didn't stray too far from it once Daredevil officially joined Marvel Studios. It's just that good. And as is the ongoing theme of this series, I can't end this video without mentioning that yes, I do have the hot toy of this suit. And it's personally my favorite in the collection, next to the Netflix Punisher from the same series. Now before we wrap up the video, we have one more suit to talk about, because as I was in the process of editing this video, we got a behind the scenes look at Daredevil's suit in season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. Since it hasn't officially been shown on screen, I decided not to officially put it on the list, but I will tell you guys where I would have put it. So before I say anything more, I'm gonna flash a giant spoiler warning for those who might not want to see it. So if you don't care, stick around, but if you want to be surprised, you can skip to the time code on the screen. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, here we go. As a surprise honorable mention, we have the black Daredevil suit from season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. And holy shit, this suit is amazing! My prediction earlier seems to be correct. It's the exact same suit as the red Born Again suit, but painted black. And in fact, it appears that it is actually the red Born Again suit that we see in the show, because you can see specks of red throughout the suit. And even if the red wasn't there, the all black looks perfect. And it's surprising that we don't see this more often, because even with the different armor plates and padding all being the same color, it doesn't look flat, it doesn't look boring, it genuinely looks amazing and all the more intimidating, especially with the red eyes really popping out of the cowl this time around. And we finally have the Daredevil logo on the chest. And what's really cool about it is that the logo isn't painted on separately. It's the red from the original coat of paint on the suit. And now I'm even more certain that this is exactly what the red suit was missing from being the best Daredevil suit. It's almost unfair how good this suit is compared to the rest, because if I were to include it on the official list, it would easily take the #1 spot. I am so looking forward to seeing this suit in action during Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. Because even in the behind the scenes photos and videos, Charlie Cox has so much aura with this suit, guys. He looks so good. Oh, I'm gonna have to buy another hot toy, aren't I? But which Daredevil suit do you think is the best? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more content like this from me, you can subscribe and follow me on all of my other social media platforms, all of which house similar content that I have here on this channel. And I want to give a huge shout out to all of my YouTube Grave Gang members listed here on screen. If you want to be listed on my next video, plus a bunch of extra perks, become a YouTube member today. And if you want to watch another video of mine, you can check it out over on this side of the screen over here. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you've been enjoying Daredevil Born Again as much as I have, and I will see you guys next time.